Turning off my video now, and I will turn off my audio in 3, 2, 1. You guys can start.
Good afternoon, Charlie. How are you today?
Hello, hi, good afternoon, Erin. Haven't seen you for a while. We've been in a prolonged, lockdown, and it just go on and on and on. What are we going to do,
Yeah, I know. I think lockdown has taken a toll on all of us, but there's been something to look forward, right? New South
That's
Wales
true.
just
That's true.
updated their
I was,
list.
yeah.
Okay, and it looks like, oh my God, the numbers are big, like 4,000 for 190, 3640 for 491. So Charlie, what does these numbers indicate? Does it indicate positivity towards giving residency to the international students?
Erin, I mean, that's definitely because of the lockdown. I was thinking that the release of the New South Wales 190 and 491 occupation list and the selection criteria will be postponed. But I mean, the good news is to say they released the occupation list and the selection criteria on last Saturday afternoon. And then I was thinking, oh wow, that's really great, and that give us the international student and the graduate something to look forward to. As you said, to say in this financial year, we do have a big number, 4,000 for 190 and 3,640 for 491. Yeah. So and as a common sense, I mean, the bigger the number, the more opportunity, for our international students.
Okay, currently those who are living in New South Wales, that is such a good news considering the fact that there's been kind of drought in past couple of years from New South Wales. There's few more interesting thing that Charlie I have noticed, and as a novice person, I'm not so sure because it looks like they have categorized different occupations in different stream, right? So
yeah, that is correct.
Any idea what does these streams reflect anything, or I mean, it's stream 1, stream 2, stream 3. So is there any benefits by stream, or which streams students should look forward? It's a bit confusing for me to grasp the actual facts. If you could help.
Firstly, just say, let's have a little look at the the occupation list for the state nominated visa 190. Compare with compare with last financial year, as we understand, it was all focusing on the ITs, professionals and engineers and nursing, and so it's really good to see that in this financial year, and I mean, in terms of the scope of the occupations, and it come back to almost like in in 2019 to just say to early 2020. So we have managers, and as we understand, managers when it comes to the occupation code, and it usually start with 1, and professional usually, as we understand, teachers, programmers, and they start with 2. Compare with just say in the past, and it was, I mean, in the past, when it comes to occupation, they're very specific about, to say, not just the initial 4 digit, but also the last 2 digit as well. And then in this financial year, just say they focus on this 4 digit, the initial 4 digit. As long as your occupation fall into your occupation, the code, if it start with the initial 4 digit as listed on the 190 list, then that is fine. Okay.
So, Charlie, obviously you have just stated the policy and you would understand better the policy implications. Are you able to give us an example about that four-digit thing? As long as the occupation is coming under those 4 digit, it should be fine to nominate the occupation. Am I right in understanding?
That is correct, Emlyn. For example, let's say, for example, as we understand, software engineer is, this is an occupation start with the 2613. In the past, as we understand, when it comes to IT, usually in the area, usually they're very specific about, for example, say software engineer, or application programmer, or developer programmer. But because in this financial year, they only lay out, the initial 4 digit. That means any occupation in the past, they might not be on the list. For example, say software testers, okay? In the past, it was not on the list. But in this financial, because that occupation also start, with 2613. So it is actually, included in the New South Wales 190 nomination list.
Wow, that is such a good news, because tester is an occupation where students feel more comfortable to find a job. So as long as they have work experiences, so they should be able to match something, right, with their occupation nomination.
Well, it really depends. To say, when it comes to the ICT professionals, similar to I think if you have a little, a look at the all these question and answers listed on the New South Wales government website, you will see that they specifically lay out the experience requirement, for the ICT professionals. And they say, when it comes to the ICT professionals, and you got to have the, if you're going to claim 5 points, 10 points, for your work experience, then your work experience has to be endorsed by the professional body, and which is the Australian Computer Society.
Okay.
And of course, it is also great to see that, to say, in this financial year, and
it is very encouraging, actually. So students, those who
yes, Erin.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm listening what you are saying.
I'm saying that it's also encouraging to see that, to say, in this financial year, some choice, occupations like cook and chef, they, that's a lot of hours, students and graduates, are waiting for. And from my experience, for example, say in January 2020, we have, I have, clients, who got the New South Wales 190 nomination with 85 points. So yeah, that really gives, the hope, for a lot of the applicants, working in the hospitality industry.
Exactly. So Charlie, I'm just going back to the skilled occupation list, and under stream 1, under managers, the code 1413, hotel and motel managers, right? So for this criteria, because as we know that we do come across a lot of students who are kind of advise us that they are working as a manager in that hotel or motel. Is that a good thing for them, or they need to have a relevant degree as well?
When it comes to that occupation, to say they do have the relevant occupation. Usually, they need to have at least a diploma in hospitality management. And because this is a managerial position, so they usually need to have a few years work experience as well. So for that reason, if our students don't have the work experience in the area, then possibly there's no point, for them to to look at that occupation. And this is occupation that is assessed by the vertices.
Okay, so but all these occupations, have they opened it up for offshore clients? No, not yet.
No. The New South Wales government already made it very clear at this stage, as we understand, it's because of the COVID-19 as well. And the 190, both the 190 and 491 invitation nomination, they are open just for they're just open for applicants located in Australia at the moment.
Okay, great. Now, there have been some inquiries that I have recently come across. You know how students get bored to do either accounting, IT, nursing, social work, or engineering. So under professionals, the first occupation is photographers. So a lot of kids have shown interest and wanted to know, because with photographers, what it says that a diploma or associate diploma should
Erin, if you have a
work
little look
experience.
at,
Does that mean that if they complete this diploma, no, they inquired about the post-study work right visa. Is there any way, because it is coming under, so their question is very specific. This is coming under professional. So this is a professional qualification. So once they complete, are they eligible to apply for 485 visa? Just like, childcare worker.
okay. When it comes to just say, 485 visa, of course, I mean, there's another set of, criteria. For 485 visa, it is, relatively simple. As long as you finish a degree and you meet the 2-year study requirement, then you'll be eligible to apply, for the 485 visa post-study work stream. No matter what occupation to say that degree leads to, Erin.
Okay, that's good. And also, Charlie, this is a very specific inquiry that came from an applicant who is about to finish his PhD. It's for the occupation university lecturer. For the first time, I guess New South Wales have included it under the professional. Earlier, it was listed with Tasmania. So with the university lecturers, what exactly do they need? Because we do have an applicant as well who applied for GTI, and kind of university lecturer position has been held by him. So what is it we are looking at under university lecturers?
Well, when it comes to university lecturers, firstly, to say, Erin, you need to be mindful that to say for all these occupations, because they're applying for the 190 or 491, or 189. The first step you need to do is you really need to pass the skill assessment by the relevant skill authority. For example, say when it comes to university lecturers, this is an occupation that is assessed by the vertices. Vertices requirement is besides, first you need to have a degree, yeah. Besides the degree, you usually need to, and well, that's almost a very, very solid criteria now is you really need to have at least 1 year work experience working as a university lecturer. So, the fresh PhD graduate, if you don't have the work experience working as a university lecturer, then you wouldn't be able to pass the skill assessment as a university lecturer. Then there's no chance, for you to be nominated for the New South Wales 190.
Okay, that is very interesting. And Charlie, I can also see the list is very interesting. I mean, some of the old occupation that was removed, I think probably in the time, the golden time of Australian immigration, 2007, 2008, like life scientists, I mean, the biotechnologists, there were time a lot of our Indian kids would have come for masters of biotechnology and eventually were able to nominate life scientists. Does that mean that Australian immigration is kind of going back to a stage where it was before? And with this life scientist and environmental scientist, what are the prospect exactly for students eventually to apply for 190 if they can ensure a kind of job experience? Because these are the areas that probably we can also influence our students to choose rather than a conventional programs that we all got bored of.
I mean, yeah, it is really great to see that, New South Wales government, this time, they really diversify, the nomination occupation again. I noticed that, these environmental scientists and the life scientists that you're talking about, they are on the New South Wales 190 list. Yeah. But yeah, you can, if you're really fascinated and you think that you're going to be really good in this area, go for it. But just be mindful that because these two occupations, they are, once again, just like the university lecturers, they are assessed by the VET-SS. When it comes to VET-SS, besides the degree that you're going to finish, you also need to have 1 year work experience in this field. And if you don't have that require 1 year work experience, then you will never be able to pass the skill assessment. Then, without the skill assessment, then, there's no chance for you to be nominated for either 190 or 491. So to say, follow the interest, but at the same time, also, if you have that migration things in mind, you need to keep, the work experience requirement in mind as well.
Okay. Now, there's another occupation. I've received inquiries from the students, 2612, multimedia specialist and web developers. Do they need to go for Bachelor of IT, or it's okay for them to choose Bachelor of Digital Media?
Erin, when it comes to this occupation, the same as other ICT occupations, because they are also assessed by the Australian Computer Society. So it doesn't really matter you finish a bachelor degree in IT or bachelor in multimedia. It doesn't really matter as long as you finish the usually at least 2 year bachelor or master's degree in the ICT area. That is fine. But at the same time, because this is as we understand, the skill assessment requirement, of the Australian Computer Society, after you finish the degree and you need to pass, when you need to pass the skill assessment, you need to do the professional year, or you need to have at least 1 year experience in this field.
Okay, that sounds great. I do have another inquiry. I could see that there's been a bit of differentiation for two occupations. So one is 2724, social professionals, and the other one is social workers. We all know about social worker. It is on PMSO list as well.
Yes,
with the
sometimes
professionals, what is it we are looking at exactly? Is it Masters of Social Science and then followed by 1 year work experience?
And then for this occupation, to say 2724, possibly I will need to do a little bit of research on this one, and we can talk about this occupation in our next section. Yeah.
Definitely, because this one sounds pretty interesting, especially for those who doesn't meet the entry requirement to study social work, whether they have got a chance or not. Thank you, Charlie. Now I'm moving to stream 3, quickly. There's a,
Yes.
I mean, obviously, agriculture is an area we have been talking about, and very lately, because of the government policy, those who work in the agriculture field are having full-time work rights and combination of the opportunity, because Australia is an agri-based economy. There is a growing interest from international students. So obviously, I know for professional ones, agricultural scientists or food scientists, they need to have 1 year work experience. How about the agricultural technician? What sort of qualification they would need? Is it diploma of horticulture?
Um,
3111.
3111.
Agricultural technicians.
Right, Emlyn, let's talk about this one next time. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, not a problem. I think these two could be another prominent thing. And interestingly, dental hygienist is back. There
Yeah,
were times,
that's
Tay, we
correct. That's
used to
correct.
fight for
Dental
a place,
hygienist,
diploma of
at
dental
some stage
technology.
in late 2007, 2008, they were popular.
Oh my God. I mean, I remember in IDP, we were all fighting for a place to secure the place for our student. Anyway, so that's actually a very good thing to come back. And then, Charlie, we have enrolled nurse for New South Wales. Now, with your experiences from migration perspective, would you recommend an overseas registered nurse who graduated in Sydney doing a non-clinical nursing program to go for diploma of nursing, or it's still better option for her to go for Bachelor of Nursing if she wants to stay in New South Wales?
Yeah, Evelyn, as you said, it's really great to see that, enrolled nurse is back to the nomination list. So to say, on Monday, I actually submitted one, registration of interest for a client straight away on Monday, right after they released the
list.
The list, and also the new nomination system called submission window. Yeah. In the past, when it comes to, well, by the way, to say, in the past, to say, when it comes to 491, the applicants apply directly to the RDA, in different, New South Wales, the regional area, they're divided into 8 or 9 different areas. And then to say, in this financial year, when it comes to the 491, we have this new system. They set up this called submission window, and you choose 3 areas that you're interested in, and if your occupation is in that areas list, then you can choose to show your interest towards that area. I noticed that, to say, because I did the occupation, I did the registration of interest for this client, and she's a very good enrolled nurse. And I noticed that this occupation is actually wanted by how many areas? And do you know? 6 areas. Okay. It is wanted by Central Coast, and it is wanted by Far West, and it is wanted by Mid-North Coast, Northern Rivers, Orana, Riverina. 6 areas. So I would say
wow.
Yeah. So and it looks like, yeah, we don't have enough enrolled nurses at the moment, if so many areas, are wanting, this occupation.
Yeah, that's actually a very good market intelligence, even for students to consider, because you also need to do the risk assessment based on the area needs, economies of scale, and other prospect. Don't just jump into the programs as such without considering other factors. This is getting very, very critical. So you really need to be mindful which area, which programs you are choosing. And we are actually here to help you with those kind of inquiries based on our years and years of experiences.
Emily,
Now, Charlie, yeah,
yes.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, just say in general, just say, you know, from my years experience, you know, in dealing with the client, especially in the international students and graduate, yeah. And you know, when something new is out, you really, you know, if you really want to grab the opportunity, the first step is I always, you know, as I always told the, you know, the students, I said, you really need to get the skill assessment done as soon as possible, yeah. And if you study IT, then and if you don't have the work experience, then try to do the PY as soon as possible so that you can get on the you know, get the skill assessment from the ACS as soon as possible. And at the same time, try to, you know, and keep improving your credentials, you know, and try to find work in your area. Try to get the PTE 79 out of 90. And yeah, and do the professional year. And sometimes I just say 5 little, you know, 5 extra point can really make a difference. And after you get the after you get the PTE 79 out of 90, try to do the, you know, the CCL and get that 5 extra points as well. Okay. And also, as we can see, yeah, I mean, we do have a big number for this financial year, you know, for 190, 491, but at the same time, keep in mind that to say in New South Wales, you know, as the #1 state for international student, we do have a lot of international graduates. So when it comes to the nomination, it is still very competitive. Okay, so
Correct.
My experience in the past is if you really want to get the New South Wales 190 nomination, you do need to have the PTE 79 out of 90. And if you don't have that, possibly you should be a little bit more realistic and, you know, and try
New South Wales
to,
or other states.
yeah, and try to, you know, let's say, you know, try to meet the 491 selection criteria, especially the string 1 criteria, which is to say, living and working in your area out of Sydney metropolitan area for at least 1 year. So yeah, so try to get the English, and if you don't get it, then be realistic and find you know, a job out of Sydney metropolitan area.
Great. Final question, Charlie.
Yes.
Accounting is on the list. What is your opinion?
Evelyn, traditionally, accounting is going to be, it is a very difficult area. I can see that to say, you know, before the COVID, accountant was always on the New South Wales 190 list as well. But to be honest, I never saw any of my clients, you know, got the to say New South Wales 190 nomination as accountants. So for some occupation, they can be there, but yeah, if you just say, you know, if you you have other you know, other pathway, for example, say if you really have 2-year work experience and your employees, you know, is willing to nominate you for 482 visa, I think you should probably choose 482 instead of, you know, expecting that New South Wales government is going to nominate you for 190. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a very good information. Okay, anybody who is having substantive work experience as an accountant, please look out for 482 visa. Speak to your employer if you have been a loyal, committed employee. And for more information, you can always speak to Charlie Zhang, one of the top migration agents in the country with 20 years of work experience. And finally, Charlie, I do understand 190 nominations are invited once a year, but for 491, there are some
Evelyn, just say when it comes to the frequency of the nomination for 491, it is usually for New South Wales 190, they usually just say, you know, nominate once a month. Yeah, okay. So you can expect, you know, check your inbox, you know, at the end of the year, at the end of the month, usually on you know, the last, you know, from 20 to 30 of, you know, of the month, you know, check your inbox. Okay, you never know. Sometimes you might be surprised to see that you can, you know, you receive a, okay, I'm pleased to you know, invite you to apply for the New South Wales 190. When it comes to New South Wales 491, and as you know, indicated on the New South Wales government's website, in this financial year, they're going to they're going to invite the applicants, you know, for 4 times, basically once every 3 months. So August, you know, as now is going to be the first time for them to apply for, to nominate the 491 applicant. So it's now really the time for our students and our graduates, you know, to submit their register of interest through the New South Wales government's website.
All right, potential students who are actually planning, the first month kicks off this month, August. So please contact us so that we can assist you on submission of 491. And then you never know, you could be the lucky one. For more details, you can always check out or contact us via messenger or on our mobile number. So finally, Charlie, thank you so much. I mean, the much waited list has come through. There are hopes. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we all look forward to see all the successful outcome for the international students who have actually devoted their commitment for Australia. With that note, I'm concluding our today's discussion Q&A session, and we will be back next week again, and with more questions, more case history to talk about. You may find similarity with this case story or some success stories. All the best. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Envin. See you next time.
See ya. Bye, and stay safe.